What is your American dream?
My American dream is that we just stop talking about walls. You know, a society without walls. That's my American dream.
I pray for, everyone to be happy and be at peace.
People come to this country for the same reasons. They try to get away from what's going on at home, and we should embrace each other. Got two things. I hope that Spanish is prosperous for our son Dion, who's 8 years old now, and we hope that he will be taking over our company in the future.
My American dream is I have to successful my every single thing because I have a one daughter and my wife. So that's I want my good hard work and give it to them.
My American dream is one day I have my home pancake all over the place.
I'm living it. The fact that I'm able to open up my own food truck and be able to represent my culture and be able to expose it and just kind of create unity representing Ethiopians and Eritreans.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Welcome, everybody. It is Bradshaw Live. What happened to my head? Cut off. What do you... Go down, 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 down. Go, not up, down, down, down. Perfect. Happy Friday, everybody. My name is Brad Bernstein. I am not the headless attorney. I have a full head. Now we got it. And it's a bit of a solemn Friday. Usually we're like... it's always like Friday, yeah, it's weekend, but it's a little solemn today because it is the 19th anniversary of September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, and of course the airplane crash in Shanksville, Pennsylvania that was heading towards the White House. We do remember that day every day since September 11th. It's hard to forget that day. I actually lived through it down here in downtown Manhattan. Thank God I'm okay. Thank God my family is okay. Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, Vanessa Contreras, Nesquik, taking some Nesquik. I've learned the secret. No, that was chocolate milk. Let's be honest. All right, Nesquik, taking some Nesquik. That would have been much better if you had some like milk and chocolate.
I actually hadn't thought about that until you mentioned that, Brad, how your office is downtown. And
Yes.
Come to think of it, how was that?
Right by there.
Yeah,
So you were in the building?
I was on the way to the building when it happened, and I heard, I was driving from uptown. Back in the day, I would drive back and forth. Believe it or not, I don't drive anymore. But back in the day, I was driving, and I was listening on the news, and I heard what had happened. And this was when it was originally announced that there was a little plane that crashed into the World Trade Center. Originally, the original news was a small aircraft went, obviously it was an accident. That's what people thought. It wasn't until the second plane crashed that the news started to report that it was two jumbo jets had crashed into the World Trade Center. I had been driving actually on the FDR Drive. I was on the way to the office, and I heard all the fire trucks and police and emergency vehicles heading downtown. And I said to myself at that point, this is not going to be a good day in downtown Manhattan. So I actually got off on 23rd Street, turned around, went back uptown. I never actually was physically there during the 9/11 attacks. I had went home. I had got back to my apartment. I called my office. We did have attorneys and paralegals there. They were not completely aware of what was going on. And I said to them, you know what? I think it's best this was before anybody knew what was happening. I said, it's probably best that we close the office. And they all left when both buildings were on fire, and everyone from my office had made it uptown or across the bridge to Brooklyn by the time any of the buildings started collapsing. And then once the buildings started collapsing, and then there were reports, I recall that a plane had crashed in Pennsylvania, and then a plane had crashed at the Pentagon. I don't recall off the top of my head now what happened first, whether it was the Pentagon that I remember. I believe it was the Pentagon first, and then a plane crashed in Pennsylvania, if my recollection is correct. And, it was a terrible, horrible day. And then several, from my side of the street on Broadway, if anybody's been to my office, we're on the west side of Broadway. That was closed down, the west side of Broadway, till mid-November. Luckily, we had an office at that time in Queens and Jackson Heights. I had a little office in Queens, much smaller than my Manhattan office. And we, back then there was no cloud computing. There was a computer server. So we had to get permission to go and get the computer server out of my office about 3 weeks after the attacks. We weren't allowed in. Clients were calling, but we didn't have anything to tell them because all the files were in our office, and our computer server was in our server room in the office. And I recall, and I've told this story before, I don't know if you guys ever heard it or not. I went down with a couple of the attorneys in my office on around towards the end of September, and we had a police escort bring us down because from Canal Street down to the tip of Manhattan was a military zone. So that really, those weeks, that really turned America into more of a police state, more of a military state, in the sense that our police departments, the things that we're protesting today, that police have, military equipment that they're using against ordinary civilians. They didn't have any of this military equipment before 9/11. Police had a revolver and a walkie-talkie and maybe a baton. That was it, But now you see the police, in Manhattan with rifles and machine guns and military equipment from head to toe and military vehicles from head to toe. And none of that existed in our police departments before 9/11. And, as I'm talking about it now, I never really gave it thought, but as I'm talking about it now live on our show, that zone from Canal Street down to the tip of Manhattan, that was probably, that was a military zone for 3 months. The military was patrolling it, and that was the beginning of the militarization of our police departments across the United States of America. Not to say that there wasn't racism in the police departments before, but it always existed. But the police have, from that point moving forward, were given a lot more military equipment that, to use against civilians than what they had before 9/11. And on that day, in the end of September, I don't recall the exact day, but it was the end of September, we had a police escort bring us down. I got permission to go in with 2 other lawyers and carry a big, heavy computer server out of our office on the 5th floor here at 225 Broadway, bring it over to Queens. And they dropped us off in front of the building at 225 Broadway. Right now, if anybody's been to my office, there is in the lobby of the building is a delicatessen. You're familiar with that, right?
Yeah.
At that point, that deli wasn't there. It was a Duane Reade drugstore. And when we got dropped off, there was no lights, there was no electricity in our building, the elevators weren't working, and we were in this very dark stairwell. So we walked into the Duane Reade, and we needed a flashlight. We took a flashlight from them. We borrowed the flashlight from Duane Reade. I apologize, Duane Reade. But what was the most interesting thing is it was like a ghost town in the sense that the cashier at that Duane Reade ran out of the store with the drawer to the cash register open with what appeared to be thousands of dollars in cash in that cash register. an entire shelves of prescription drugs. Who knows what those prescription drugs were? An entire store just wide open, doors open, cash, we just needed the flashlight because we couldn't go up the stairs, in the pitch dark, and it was our only chance to get, to get the service. So we took the flashlight. But somebody, listen, I don't know, I'm not, President Dwayne Reed, but I am sure that somebody went in there at some point and looted that whole place. And there was nobody there. So we got our server. And one of the things I didn't realize back in 2001 is how heavy a computer server is. It's not like a little thing like you have now. I mean, there were these huge.
A floppy.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. Yeah, let me stick this in and stick this out. We had to take this huge equipment, and it was heavy. It was heavy as hell, and we lugged it down 5 flights, and of course we have to carry it all the way up to Canal Street because we're in a military zone, and we made it about a block away. And it's the only time I've ever had a gun put to my head. About a block away, 3 guys from the U.S. military came with 3 police officers because the military and the police were kind of patrolling together. And they yelled at us to stop, put the computer down, basically put a gun to my head. We had us down on the ground with 2 other lawyers, and they had to call and put us up against the wall and check for about 30 minutes that we had permission to be there, because you didn't really have permission to be there. And we got, obviously we had the permission, and we had to show our ID that this is my computer server. They thought we were, stealing something. And eventually we were let go, and we made it around the corner. We had to go, they told us we couldn't walk up Broadway, we had to go up Church. So as we turned the corner, and we walked 1 block over to Church Street, and maybe I'm making this way too long, but it's my memories of 9/11. I turned around and I saw the World Trade Center, and it was still smoldering 2-3 weeks later. And the destruction of that building, if you can picture what a 9 or 10 story building, the height of a 9 or 10 story building would be, that was probably the height of the steel that was just one on top of another, that collapsed on one another. It was probably 10 stories tall, the steel that they had to remove. And then, of course, obviously, changed America completely, militarized our police force. USCIS, the Department of Homeland Security, did not exist before 9/11. It was made directly as a result of 9/11. Before the Department of Homeland Security, there was the Immigration Naturalization Service, the INS, and they were under the auspices of the Department of Justice. And it was considered a legal issue to get a green card or not. And obviously it is, because I'm a lawyer and you have to go through, a legal issue. But it became, after 9/11, not a legal issue, but now a security issue, immigration. Immigration was never a security issue until after 9/11. And they turned that terrorist attack. And yes, there were 19 men who were here on student visas. And they were on legal visas, and they went to school. And apparently they learned to fly a plane. And that's how, and was able to get through security at the airport. There was no TSA, Transportation Security Administration. It was private security people at an airport prior to 9/11. And you would just go through a metal detector. And people my age remember all this, but there was no, take your shoes off or, show your ticket. You would just go through the, put your luggage on the tray, go through the metal detector, and you're done.
I do remember everybody, like your family, was able to go in with you, like all the way to the gate.
Correct.
Like to the door.
Yeah.
If they didn't have a ticket.
That's right.
I do
yeah,
remember.
Yeah, you just had to go through the metal detector, that's all. Nobody was asking for tickets or anything. And, but as a result, I mean, when you think about all the things that changed, the Islamophobia, people who are, terrified of Muslims.
That was a big one.
The militarization of our police force, and the attitudinal change for people looking at immigrants and immigration and the attitudinal change that I see, because I was an immigration lawyer before and after, so I've seen both sides. And there was always, a security component. Even in 1996, they passed immigration laws, that defined what an aggravated felon is and defined what, crime of moral turpitude is. So, yes, certainly they were always passing laws that, people who commit crimes, get deported or become inadmissible. But they changed the entire system. The Immigration Naturalization Service was an agency to facilitate the processing of immigration papers for people and facilitate the processing of the orderly entry and exit of immigrants. And that changed after 9/11 to the Department of Homeland Security, and they split the INS into USCIS, whose job it is to now protect American workers, and ICE, whose job it is, Immigration Customs Enforcement, to police America and remove immigrants. Not that there wasn't deportation before, but it's just immigration is now a security issue, and it wasn't prior to 9/11. Even the fact, if you come into JFK Airport, I was just talking about this with somebody today, and I'm sure everybody has, you guys have gone through JFK Airport. The first thing you see when you come international through to JFK Airport, whether you're an American, an immigrant, you're coming here on a visa, is a big, huge poster of an ICE agent smiling in full military gear. I'm sure you've seen this. And he has full military gear, and he's next to a dog, it looks like a dog, who sniffs for bombs and drugs and whatever.
Oh,
and he's smiling, but he has all this military equipment on, and it's so, to me.
Oh, I think I do know what you're talking about, Brad.
To me, as an American, it's a threatening picture to me that this is what I'm coming into. This is the country, the city I'm coming into. It's not a welcoming picture, even though you got a smiling guy in military gear with a dog. He still has military gear, a gun, a whole, military fatigues and everything with a gun. To me, that's not very welcoming.
Just because they smiling doesn't mean not welcoming.
And it's done, and it's done on purpose to say, don't F with us.
Right.
Don't F with us. We're gonna get you. And it scares me, and I'm not effing with anybody. So I can imagine what somebody who's non-American. I see that big and then you come into this big hall and a lot more, officers, obviously, but it's a very threatening picture, and it's completely different than what it was pre 9/11. 9/11 changed, and I'll tell you what, I don't know how America is going to change with COVID, but years from now, I hope I know you guys. I hope we're doing this for a very long time. We'll talk about how life was pre-COVID and post-COVID. We don't, but
Right.
It's going to be completely different too.
This is true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Happy Friday! It wasn't that exciting Friday, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, it's one thing to talk about it and then really understand like a point in time. It's almost been 20 years since then. So it's like to hear all that's changed, where you were, like this was a huge event. I mean, something that's bananas to me is like a lot of my friends who are, educators and teachers now, like I was like in 5th grade when 9/11 happened. So to know that it's being taught to 5th graders now and it's a part of history and history books, and I like lived it, like I remember exactly where I was, and a lot of us, I'm seeing it in the comments, like there's people saying I know exactly where I was that day. And it's like our kids are going to read this, mine and Yo-Yo's kids are going to read this in history books, and it's like I can, the same way you told us, like I always love to hear like where were you, especially being so close, like we didn't even say hi to the squad. I just had to hear it for myself, because come to think of it, the office is right there.
Yeah. Yeah, we were able to see the destruction from our office when we came back. There was a big hole for a very long time. People would come up just to my office just to say, "Hey, can I see it? Look at the 9/11 site."
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, let's say hello to the squad. Happy Friday! Woo! Boy, Uncle Brad,
in lighter news.
full of joy today. Thanks for, everyone likes to watch Brad show live. They're like, oh, it's my favorite show, you guys, make it so fun. Everyone's going to be like, boy, you guys, very depressing today. Carol Anderson, the Tigers, squad up. Deion Watson, how are you? The Forbes, squad up. Clifford Gordon, Elsie Elias, Mama Yo-Yo, saying happy Friday, everyone. Happy New Year to me. Mama Yo-Yo announcing it's Ethiopian New Year. Happy New Year, Mama Yo-Yo.
Oh, Happy New Year.
When were you going to share this with us, Junior Yo-Yo?
After your story. Remember last year at this time I was in Ethiopia.
I do remember. Right. But you're on a lunar calendar, so it changes if I recall, right? It's not always on 9/11. It changes because you're on a lunar.
Last year I was on the 14th.
Right. I remember you went. Yeah. Right. You had a great time there. Boy, time flies. Time flies. Sharmila Singh, squad up. Dip Fab Cake Affairs, squad up. Elizabeth Francis, squad up. Jessica Leamy, Joelle Reed, squad up. Dionne Reed, Dawn Harriet. And who else we got here? Quickly, Alexia McFarlane with a question about the Adam Walsh Act. Make sure we get that in social media check-in. We'll be answering that shortly. It was a long question. If it was short, I would have answered it. Nayanal Chul saying, hello, Brad, on YouTube. 29 Super C. Garfield Smith, squad up. Felina Abwell saying, hi, Uncle Brad. And Elizabeth Jusso, Blaze MB, and Patrick Miard. How are you all? Welcome, one and all. And Yo-Yo and Nesquik, why don't you tell everybody what they need to do while I stretch and get ready for some schmoozing?
Absolutely. All right, everybody on all social media platforms. First things first, I need you guys all to join the Brad Squad on Facebook. This is a VIP squad. You are able to throw in your questions anytime throughout the day. And we are going to make sure that we pick the first 5 questions, and we'll ask that before any of the Brad Squad questions from social media check-in that we get right at this moment. All right, so make sure you join that right now. Now, first things first, for Facebook, I need you all to share. Yes, my mom said it is the Ethiopian New Year today, so we want to celebrate by letting everybody know that it's also the Ethiopian New Year. We are also remembering the 9/11. We want to show our respect and our love to all the people all over the world, anybody that was affected, but the only way we could do that is for you guys to share. It's all within your thumbs and your fingers, okay? Click that little arrow, share it to anybody's page. You can share it in an inbox. You could copy the link and you can send it to anybody's text message blast. You could put together a whole group of friends or family. Make it a fun thing, like an everyday thing, like, oh, come on, y'all, let's go join the party, the squad party. You know what I mean? You can make it a fun thing. So make sure you guys share it to everybody. Now, also throw in all your questions and your comments in the comment section. We love the interaction. We love you guys hitting us up, adding us, and showing your emotions by throwing up those emojis, like, love, smiley face, wow face, mad face, whatever you're feeling. All right, so make sure you guys continue that, and because we love it. All right, it makes us feel good. All right, now that's quick. What are we gonna do on YouTube?
On YouTube Squad, we should already be subscribed, and make sure that you turn on that notification bell so you know when Brad Show Live is on Monday through Friday. And of course, like Yo-Yo said, we want to hear from you guys. So make sure that you're putting in your questions and your comments throughout the show, because of course we have our social media check-in later on in the show, and we also have our comments of the day. So our crew in the back is looking out for all you guys' interactions. Right below, I also want you guys to hit that thumbs up button, because that lets YouTube know that we're doing great work here. You guys are loving what you're seeing. And with that engagement, it brings more people into this channel and it helps our squad grow. You guys already know all the value and knowledge that Brad has to offer. And why not share this with everybody you know? So right under here below, you'll also see the share arrow. So go ahead and click that, where you can copy the link, send it in a text message, send it as a direct message, go ahead and post it, forward it to Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, everywhere, you guys. We need to get the word out, and all we need from you guys is to just be that connector. Just share. So share it again on WhatsApp, as a text, go for it. But I'm also taking a look here, and I feel like those thumbs up, we need to get them a little higher before I can let Brad answer immigration questions. We're also on Instagram Squad, so make sure you follow us there. You can also direct message us your questions there as well for both social media check-in and our speed round. So make sure you follow us there for the best snippets of our show. And every now and again, you might even catch yourself with a contest. In the past, we've done free consultations with Brad, and why not have one-on-one with all this knowledge and value? But for now, let's get into it, schmoozing with Brad.
All right. So as we said, it is the 19th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. They had a commemoration down here about 2 blocks from my office. Joe Biden and Mike Pence, they crossed paths at the September 11th memorial. It was reported that Joe Biden tapped Mike Pence on the shoulder, and Mike Pence turned around, wasn't sure who it was. There it was. It was Joe Biden, and they gave each other an elbow bump. So at least they didn't punch each other out. That wouldn't have been very good. Then Joe Biden, he went to... Yeah, right. I mean, I would on the nasty things that they said about Joe Biden, I don't know. I would have turned around and went, yeah, but I think you go to jail if you punch the vice president. But nevertheless, they actually were very civil with one another. They said something to each other. They had a conversation for a very short moment in time, and then they moved on. And we'll have either the same pumpkin or a new president in about 53 days or so from now. Hopefully we get a new president instead of an old pumpkin. And then Joe Biden, he went off to Pennsylvania, where the crash of the airplane in Pennsylvania that was heading towards the White House, where the passengers on board fought back and crashed the plane and saved the plane from crashing into the White House. Donald Trump was there as well, but Biden and Trump did not pass each other. They were brought to separate areas, and they did not meet or talk or say anything to each other. What was reported back in the day, and it wasn't reported because people heard it, it was on the radio, but reminded us of an interview that Donald Trump did on the day of the 9/11 attacks. Several hours. This is our president. Shows, it kind of shows where his empathy is, even 20 years ago, 19 years ago. I don't know if you know this story, Yo-Yo and Vanessa. Just hours after the 9/11 attacks in 2001, Donald Trump, who was a real estate developer, everybody knows that, and he was also a reality TV star, he spoke to a local television station, WOR, which in New York is Channel 9, for those who don't know, and he didn't talk about the loss of life, the terrible destruction, the fear. No, not even the value of the property. What he talked about was, and I'm going to quote Donald Trump, because he was the owner of 40 Wall Street, by the way, which it was at the time the second largest building in Lower Manhattan, the Twin Towers being the tallest buildings. So he bragged after the 9/11 attacks. He said, 40 Wall Street, and I'm quoting, this was on the radio several hours after the 9/11 attacks. 40 Wall Street actually was the second tallest building in downtown Manhattan, and it was actually before the World Trade Center was built the tallest. And then when they built the World Trade Center, it became known as the second tallest. But now, it's the tallest again.
Wow.
That's what he said. That's what he said on television in New York City. The future president of the United States of America.
United States. Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah.
This world just goes in crazy circles.
Yes, isn't it?
What?
Meanwhile, the New York Daily News is reporting that the Trump administration has secretly siphoned nearly $4 million away from the program that treats the first responders who came down, the firemen, the policemen who breathed in all of the air from the destruction of the World Trade Center and got sick, got ill. They were the ones who went in to try to save people. Many died. He's pulling money, $4 million. Now, what is $4 million to the U.S. government? That's like saying that's like an individual. You know what $4 million to the U.S. government is? That's like Yo-Yo saying to me, you know what? I'm not going to give you a penny.
Right.
I'm not going to give you my penny. I'm going to keep my penny in my pocket. It means nothing to the U.S. government. Yet documents obtained by the Daily News reveal that Trump's Treasury Department, the Treasury Department run by Donald Trump, that started this program under former presidents, is now withholding payments for nearly 4 years that was meant to cover medical services for the firefighters, the emergency medical technicians, the paramedics who were treated by the Fire Department of New York World Trade Center Health Program. These are all people who went and risked their lives, their health, to save others. Now, the payments were authorized and made by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. But instead of sending the funds to the city, the Treasury just started keeping the money for themselves. Now, Dr. David Levy, the program's director, said he was docked about $500,000 each year in 2016 and 2017. Then it crept up to $630,000 in 2018 and 2019. And this year, the Treasury has nearly tripled the extraction, diverting more than $1.447 million through at least August. So it'll be over $1.5 million by the end of the year. Now, Republican Representative Pete King, who we're not very fond of here on Bradshaw Live, but he is a representative here from New York, found that some other agency in the city has been in an unrelated feud with the federal government over the Medicare bills, and for some reason, the Treasury Department has decided to stiff the Fire Department of New York. King said, whatever the circumstances is that forces a premier program for sick 9/11 first responders to go begging for help on the eve of the 19th anniversary of the attack has to end. It is disgraceful. Probably the only thing I've ever agreed with Representative Peter King. Now, Senator Chuck Schumer is equally disgusted, saying the Trump Treasury Department siphoning congressionally appropriated funds meant to pay for 9/11 workers' health care is outrageous and a finger in the eye to the first responders who risked their lives for us. All we can say is, shame on you, Donald Trump. Shame on you for getting on television and bragging about your big building several hours after the World Trade Center collapsed. And shame on you 19 years later for pulling $4 million to help firefighters and paramedics who wouldn't risk their lives to save others for their medical bills. It's not even giving them money to live, it's pay their medical bills.
Right. Evil. Pure evil.
I don't know what else to say. It's disgraceful. I agree with Representative Peter King. Meanwhile, the other big thing, it is an inferno on the West Coast. Have you seen these pictures of what's going on?
Yeah.
It is an inferno. At least 15 people have now been killed in California, Oregon, and the Washington wildfires, and the deadly, fast-moving wildfires across multiple West Coast states that forced more than 500,000 people to flee their homes. The Portland mayor, Ted Wheeler, has declared a state of emergency and is forcing massive evacuations of Portland. A major United States city is being evacuated right now. You know how major of a city Portland, Oregon is? They have their own basketball team. They have their own professional sports teams. This is a big city.
My brother's actually there now.
It's a big city.
My brother's in Portland.
Is he okay?
Yeah.
Is he going to be evacuated? Because parts of the city are being evacuated.
I think where they're from, it's probably like 30 minutes out of Portland. Like they're not exactly in Portland, but yeah, I'll have to follow up. I actually haven't spoken to my brother.
My family, I have family in Salem, and they've been sending, like, my cousins, their younger cousins, they're in high school. They've been sending us pictures that they're literally just taken from outside, and it looks like they live on Mars because the whole sky is just red. It's crazy.
Now, but besides the fact of the environmental damage that this smoke causes, and the death that this fire causes, and the damage to property that this causes, the health issues that this is going to cause, breathing in air that is contaminated with soot from a fire and smoke can kill you, can take years off your life. There will be lots and lots and lots of people who will end up with very, very long-term health problems from breathing this air. Man. It's similar air to what the firefighters and the paramedics breathed when the World Trade Center collapsed.
Right.
You have buildings that are on fire. You have air that's being contaminated. And it's the same fire from the World Trade Center. Fire is fire. Doesn't matter how it's caused. By the World Trade Center, it was terrorists, crashing a plane into a building. And this is just fire burning. You're breathing it. And if you look at the paramedics and the firemen and the policemen who have had health problems as a result of
dust.
And now you're talking about tens of millions of people. You're not talking about a couple thousand people in Lower Manhattan. You're talking about tens of millions of people. Think about the health consequences. Now, CNN reports that in the small Oregon cities of Phoenix and Talent, Oregon, home to about 11,000 people, the entire towns have been reduced to ash. Nothing is left. In towns of 11,000 people, consumed by fire, nothing left. I can't imagine what this is like.
Wow. Oh, look at this. Just like you're saying, Yo-Yo.
Yeah, it looks like Mars. And these are like not filters. That's exactly how these pictures are coming out once you take the picture. It's crazy.
And Governor Newsom of California, he had a very dire warning today. I'm going to paraphrase him. And he said, you see what's going on in California? You see what's going on in Oregon? This is a result of climate change. California, Oregon, Washington, they have had no rain the entire summer. Now, it is their dry season, but it has been the driest season on record. It has been the hottest season on record. And as a result of being the driest and the hottest, this is what you get. And climate change is not just happening in California and Washington and Oregon. Climate change is happening everywhere. So what you see, these pictures, I don't hope or pray it on anybody, but I'm not an idiot and I'm not stupid. This is, you ever see the preview to the movie? This is the preview of the movie coming to your home too. This is going to happen in many, many places. And it is going to get worse and worse. And we have a president of the United States who rolls back environmental rules and regulations, takes us out of the Paris Accords to reduce carbon dioxide in the air, carbon emissions, which causes climate change. And he says it's unfair to the United States. Yet the United States and China are the two largest polluters in the world. What about it's unfair to the rest of the world that the United States gets to pollute? It's unfair to the people who live in the United States that their towns get reduced to ash. Right. Yeah. 11,000 people, done. Because he doesn't want General Motors to build a car that gets 45 miles to the gallon. He only wants General Motors to build a car 25 miles to the gallon. Because he doesn't want businesses to spend some money to reduce their carbon footprint. The cost of cleaning this up in healthcare, rebuilding, fighting these fires is going to be astronomically more than just staying in the Paris Accords, than building a car that has better gas mileage. And by the way, when you build cars with better gas mileage and you stay in environmental accords with other governments, and you force businesses to figure out how to reduce their carbon footprint, you know what happens? One word: innovation. Innovation happens. And that's when we advance as a society. That's as we advance as a country. People innovate. They figure out how to do things. Why? Because they're forced to. How many times do you figure it out only when you're forced to do it? And then when you're not forced to do it, you're like, yeah, screw it. I'll do it the old way. It's fine.
Right.
But this is what happens. Meanwhile, I'll tell you one other thing what's going on that's crazy. This is a terrible Friday, isn't it?
Where's the yay? I'm waiting for the yay in this Friday.
This is horrible Friday.
I'm waiting for the yay.
I don't like this Friday. Julian!
Hey, there are real things that are happening.
Julian, let's stop this right now. Let's start again. Thank you. Happy Friday, everybody. I mean, there's so much.
Not every Friday is like this. Not every Friday is, 9/11. It's like, you know what I mean? We don't mean for it to be heavy, but that's part of what we do here. The good, the bad, and the ugly. All of it.
Now, I'll tell you one other thing that's crazy, that's happening, and then we'll get to some Friday news because we got to have a little fun.
Yeah, brighten it up, Brad.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to light it up yet. There's, by the way, just in terms of the fires right now, there's over 100 active fires through 3 states. More than 4 million acres of land have been burned. Now, besides dealing with the fires, the destruction, the health consequences of these fires, the major evacuations of towns and cities, the towns that are getting reduced to ash, people losing everything that they have, and the government asking people to evacuate. Now, state officials are dealing with not only these fires and everything associated with it, but they also now have to counter social media rumors that the blazes were set by anti-fascist activists, publicly pleading with people to verify this information before sharing it. So what's going around the internet right now? Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the protesters in Portland who were demonstrating against police brutality and racism. It is going around the internet that these people who are on the front lines of the protests, most were protesting, some were violent, yes, but most were protesting, that they deliberately set these fires in order to cause anarchy throughout the 3 states. And they deliberately caused these fires to make people flee and be scared. Now, these rumors appear to have been started on Wednesday night. They're going through the internet. It is going through the internet to such a level that the Portland Police Department has warned people on Twitter about the risk of fire during demonstrations. But they have also said that there is zero evidence at this moment that any activist who was protesting on the streets in Portland set any fires. Some of these fires were set by arsonists, no question about it, but they have absolutely zero proof so far that any of these fires were set by activists. All right, it's Friday.
Brighten it up, Brad. Bright Brad.
All right, everybody, it's Friday.
Gotta get a little silly.
Yeah, all right. So, a little girl decided to show her mom's bottle of rum. Did you see this? During her online show and tell with her class. When Illinois' second grader Penny was given an assignment to bring something that smells good to her remote school class, her mind went straight to Mommy's liquor cabinet. Penny's mother, Megan, wrote, "It's moments like these that I wish I didn't go all balls out on having children. Here's Penny showing her class something that smells good." Now, beneath the text is an image of Penny at her learning station wearing light pink headphones and happily holding up her virtual classmates a bottle of Malibu rum near the size of her torso. While her class can't appreciate the alcohol sent through the airwaves, they can certainly see that Penny had chosen an object she won't be legally allowed to drink for years to come. Megan tagged the picture of her daughter, hashtag in Jesus' name, amen, hashtag blessed, hashtag please take them back now, hashtag hide your wife, hashtag hide your kids, hashtag hide your Malibu.
Right.
All right, so that was kind of funny, but I guess it's better than showing her mom's weed collection. This smells pretty good too, right? Can you imagine that one? That would have been worse. That would have been worse.
She chose the right vice.
Yes, exactly. Now, a groom at an outdoor Massachusetts wedding joked that 2020 had, and I'm quoting him, had not been the best year during his vows right before a lightning strike. Aaron Sawitsky and Denise McClure were in the middle of their socially distanced outdoor ceremony when lightning struck from a thunderstorm. The sudden bolt flashed across the body of water from where they stood and was quickly followed by a crackling boom just after the groom joked, "Let's face it, 2020 hasn't been the best year." Let's watch. We have the video. Can you imagine? Oh my God. So he wrote, "Turn on the sound for this one. Mother Nature has her wry sense of humor." Thankfully, nobody got electrocuted and they did get married. And yes, 2020 sucks. No question about it. Hopefully 2021 is better. Can you imagine? The guy says, "Yeah, 2020 hasn't been the best year." Boom, lightning strike.
Listen, that's why 2020 is alive. It can hear you.
Exactly.
Don't mess with it.
Now, did you see the skinny house on social media? You know, you guys are on social media now. There's a skinny house, and it's leaving people completely baffled. The two-bedroom property in Illinois is not exactly your run-of-the-mill house, as the name suggests. It's slightly narrower than your average home. Now, TikTok user Eli.Corn posted a short video of him outside showing off the bizarre architecture of the skinny house. Now, since the video was posted on the site 2 days ago, it has received more than 316,000 likes. Commenting on the short video, one person said, "That's not a house, that's a hallway you're renting." A second said, "This has deeply upset me," while another asked, "How does somebody even live there? Look at that skinny house."
What?
Like,
why would one even take all the time to construct the house?
That looks like more like the set of Universal Studios. If you ever go to Universal Studios, they built the front of the house and there's nothing behind it.
Nothing behind it, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't even look wide enough to walk through.
Now, the property is extremely narrow at one end, but in truth, it's not quite as tiny as it appears at first glance, and its actual title, The Pie House, offers a more accurate idea of what it actually looks like. The advertisement says, "You now own Deerfield's famous Pie House. This iconic home is larger than it appears, with over 1,600 square feet of living space, including the finished basement, good natural light, with lots of character." So apparently it's a pie. So it's a triangle. So it's skinny at one point.
Got you.
And by the way, if this was hump day, I would have another joke. But since this is Friday, we'll just leave it as it's a pie.
But this Friday,
it's a pie. Yes,
humor.
exactly. It's a pie. It's a Exactly. Exactly.
I'm down.
And we're out. Thank you very much. We'll see you all on Monday. But apparently it's a pie house. It's a pie house. Not.
All right.
All right, let's do one more. Tell me which one do you want?
The one to the right.
My right or your right?
Your right.
All right, top or bottom, because that way.
Top.
Top. All right, so you're getting the top one.
Right, left, right.
That's
up,
right. I didn't
down.
know which one. I am only going to read one more. I'll let you pick the one. This is pretty scary, actually. I don't know if this is Friday or scary. I mean, we want to end on a happy note, and this is weird and scary.
Check the other card.
We should have checked the other card.
Check the other card.
The other card's much better.
All right,
Can't
do the
take
other
any
card.
more of this. It's been a heavy day. It's a heavy Friday.
All right, I'm going to do the other card. The other one was pretty scary. Performer David Blaine, you know who he is, the magician and the Houdini artist and the escape artist. He wowed. I watched this, by the way. It was really cool. I actually spent the time to watch it, believe it or not. He wowed his fans by flying to 18,000 feet in the air using just balloons. It was really cool. I watched it. He rose to fame as a magician, but most of David Blaine's activities these days involve life-threatening endurance tests. Now, the illusionist floated over the Arizona desert on Wednesday by holding onto 50 helium balloons. The stunt was titled Ascension. And what he did was he had all these weights in his pocket. And as he would dump weights, he started going up in the air. And he was hoisted 18,000 feet up into the air. That's about 2/3 of the way up of what an airplane would fly at its highest altitude. Airplanes fly about 30,000 feet if you were going, international across the Atlantic Ocean or something. So at 18,000 feet, he then pulled out a parachute. He did not have a parachute on. He pulled a parachute out of his back somewhere, was able to put the parachute on as he was floating 18,000 feet above the air. And by the way, it's really hard to breathe 18,000 feet above the air. First of all, it's below zero. The temperature's below zero.
This guy gets me every time.
And so it's freezing cold. I don't know what the exact temperature is, but it's below zero. And you can't breathe the air up there. I mean, have you ever gone hiking up in a high mountain? It's hard to breathe.
Yeah.
Some people even have trouble breathing in Denver, Colorado, and this guy's 18,000 feet up in the air. He could have passed out.
Wow.
If he passed
People
out,
be playing with their life, man.
if he passed out, he'd be dead. Or if he was not passed out but somewhat delirious, how would he get his parachute on? But he did it.
Yeah.
And then,
of course, he did.
He cut the ropes to the balloons. He was like, what was that movie where the guy's flying around in the house with the balloons? The cartoon? Up. That's exactly what it was.
Up in the way or something like that?
Yeah. Now, and he parachuted to safety, and he's alive. His initial goal, by the way, I have it wrong. His initial goal was to get to 18,000 feet. You know how high he made it up? 24,900 feet. The height of the height of an airplane. That's what an airplane flies at, 30,000 feet. You always hear 30,000 feet above the earth. And then when you're on the plane, I don't know if you've ever seen, you're on the plane, you see that, look at the map as you go, and it says how high you are and how fast the plane's going.
Yep.
It always says outside temperature minus 57 degrees, doesn't it? It's got to be freezing cold. 24,900 feet is 4.7 miles in the air. He parachuted to safety. And he says when he landed, wow. That's what he said. Wow.
That's David
Wow,
Blaine.
that's all you got. That's all you got to say is wow. I would have been like, holy shit,
Right.
I would have had a coronary on the way down.
I've watched documentaries on him and stuff. He does a lot of mental preparation and things. You need to have your mind right. You're about to put your life on the line every single time you do these things. So,
Vanessa,
yeah.
let me tell you something. No matter how right his mind is, his mind ain't right. I'm telling you, your mind is not right to be doing that.
He has the sixth sense.
Your mind is not right to do that. And by the way, he had 770,000 live viewers watching this on YouTube. So I was thinking that, we would strap some balloons to Yo-Yo on Monday, put him up in the air a little bit just to get
we
on,
need those numbers,
just to
Brad,
get on, So instead of Yo-Yo saying, hey, share this, thumbs up, we're just going to strap some balloons on him and let him go up in the air and see how our numbers go. What do you think?
My mom won't let me do it. My mom won't let me do it.
Oh,
Said
I
no.
forgot Mom Yo-Yo's on. Sorry, Mom.
My mom said nope.
So be safe, promise.
All right, we got to get to some immigration questions. Our lines are open. We have a whole bunch of empty lines right now. So if you do call, you will get your immigration questions answered. I want you to tell everybody what they need to do while I get ready to answer your immigration questions.
Yes. All right, everybody on Facebook. First things first, I already know. You guys know what time it is. It's time to start your watch parties. It's so easy to do it. All you have to do, click that share button. It says more options. Then it'll say watch party. Now start. It takes the video from our page to your page. You are the host. So make sure you let everybody know to come to the main page, put in their questions if they have any questions, because we're going to be answering questions right after this segment. So it's so simple, just like you see it. Share, more options, and watch party. Also put in all your comments and your questions in the comment section and still interact with us, because we're about to get into some juicy questions. You already know how the Brad Squad does with their questions. So now, Nets Quick, let us know what we're going to do on YouTube.
On YouTube, friends, you should already be subscribed, and make sure that you turn on the notification bell so you know when Brad's show is live Monday through Friday. Of course, just like Yo-Yo said for Facebook, right under here, you're going to find an arrow that says share. Now is the time of times to share, friends. So Brad is about to answer your immigration questions, and you guys already know there's so much knowledge that comes from these questions being answered. You never know when there's someone that you know that has that question and they just do not have the source. So go ahead and press that arrow below, which will have you copy this link, and you can share it in a text message, share it in a WhatsApp group, share it on Facebook, Twitter, everywhere, you guys. Let's keep the squad growing, and we also want to share all of the information that we have. So make sure that you share, you guys. It's so important that we get this word out there, okay? And we need your help to do it. We're also on Instagram, friends, where you should be following us there. And every now and again, you'll catch the best snippets of our show, as well as a contest. We can also direct message your questions there so we can answer them during social media check-in. We're looking out for our comments of the day throughout those as well. But it's the time that you guys have all been waiting for. Let's get to it. Getting the answers to your immigration question.
All right, let's go to Faith in Detroit, Michigan. Faith, how are you?
Hi, Uncle Brad.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Okay, I got married to a veteran who is on disability in 2018. And we filed in 2018. We married in January. We filed in May. Mm-hmm. And we got our interview in October. But in 2019, they sent us intent to deny, and they finally denied us.
Why?
And they said the reason was we didn't have financial assets together and stuff like that.
They didn't believe it was a real marriage. They didn't believe it was a real marriage.
Yes, and also to prove that it's a bona fide marriage.
Right.
Marriage. So we didn't have so we filed what's it called, the appeal.
Nah, that's not a good idea. Okay.
And it's been a year since we filed the appeal. We haven't heard. We didn't get no receipt.
Let me ask you a question. You live with this man?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Why don't you have a bank account with him?
We do. We finally got. We didn't know at the time. We finally got an account. He doesn't have a job actually.
But he gets a disability payment. And that's something, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I assume you get something from the military maybe too, who knows? But,
yes, he does.
But this is what you need to do. And this is what everybody needs to do. I'm going to tell you two things. Number one, you live with a man or you live with a woman, whoever, your spouse, whatever it is. You have to prove to the government it's a bona fide marriage. And you don't have to do it the day you file your papers. The day you file your papers, you just got to prove you're legally married. At an interview, which happens 6-9 months, which you discovered, you got to prove it's a bona fide marriage. How do you prove to the government it is a bona fide marriage? I say this every day. Prove you live with the person. Prove you have a financial relationship with that person. How do you prove the financial relationship? It starts with you and your spouse have a joint bank together. Not a joint bank account together. And you take that joint bank account and you use it. You don't just open it and it sits there with $100 and nobody touches it. That's not a financial relationship. That's somebody who just opened up a joint bank account for immigration. A financial relationship is somebody who opens up a joint bank account with their spouse, and the money that comes in from the spouse, whether it's from a job, whether it's from disability, whether it's from pension, that money gets deposited into this bank account. This is your main bank account. And your money that you earn from your job or from whatever sources of income that you have, that money goes into this bank account, your main bank account, your joint bank account with your spouse. And you commingle your funds. You don't know whose dollar it belongs to who. And out of this main bank account, you pay all the bills of your marriage. You pay your rent and mortgage, you pay your insurance, you pay your credit card bills, you pay for your food. Whatever bills you have, you pay from this bank account. And then you show up to, and by the way, you file your joint tax return and you pay your taxes through this joint bank account, or you get your tax refund into this bank account. And you show up to your interview in 9 months or 10 months or 12 months and you say, here's our bank account. The money comes in, the money goes out. Here's all the bills we're paying. Here's our tax return. And you will have the easiest interview in the world every time. That's simple. When you go and you fail because you didn't do it, is she listening, I hope? You there, Faith?
I'm here, I'm listening.
Okay, good. When you go to your interview and you don't do this, you will get denied. And you made a motion to reopen. You say, what are they, crazy? I live in a real marriage. I'm going to make a motion to reopen. But that's not the way to handle this when you get denied. And the reason is when you make a motion to reopen, you're saying you made the incorrect decision. You should have made a different decision based on not the reality of the moment, but based on the evidence that I presented. If you open up that file and all the evidence I presented, you should have given me a green card. But based on what you told me, Faith, you didn't really present much evidence that you had this financial relationship. So based on the little you told me, I would say you would make a motion to reopen, and ultimately you're going to get denied anyway, because they're going to say, based on the evidence that you presented when we showed up to that interview, we made the right decision. You didn't come with proof that you had a financial relationship. So that's why I said, when I was shaking my head when you originally called, I said, I don't know if that would be the right thing I would have done. What now? And even if they told you this is a business marriage, just because you get denied doesn't mean you have the right to file again. You can file again and again and again and again until you get it right. Eventually, if you keep getting it wrong, they're going to put you in deportation. But the point is just because you got denied doesn't mean you make the motion to reopen. Generally, my advice is file again and let's do it right.
Okay.
And when you file again and do it right, you also get to renew your work permit. As a motion to reopen, you don't get to renew it. So my advice is follow my advice that I just told you for the last 6 minutes. Withdraw the motion to reopen because it's going to be forever, and most likely you're going to get a denial again, and just refile again and do it right. And if you need help, I can help you.
Okay. I have a second question, please,
What?
for a friend. All right. A friend got married to her husband, and for whatever reason, she didn't know that he wasn't divorced completely with the first wife. And she finally found out when she was trying to pull out documents to file for her children after 3 years of marriage. And when they filed 3 years ago, that's in 2017, they didn't get any response. They've been waiting for USCIS, but no response. But they've been renewing her work permit, and she thought everything was good until she wanted to file for her kids, and she found out that the date on the divorce was after their marriage. So she's stuck. She doesn't know what to do. So I feel I should call to find an act.
Well, she's not married. She's not legally married to the man because, you know, is this one of those like divorce NISI type of things, you know?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because somebody, you get the first divorce and then they say, okay, in 60 days, now you're free to marry, and it's the final divorce. And people think they're free after they get that first one. These are not U.S. divorces, these are foreign divorces. So she was not free to marry. She was a bigamist. That marriage is invalid. You can't be married to two people legally at the same moment. So what she needs to do is withdraw her adjustment application, remarry the man again, because now she is free to marry him, refile all over again.
Okay.
All right? But she doesn't need to do any divorce or anything again. She just needs to withdraw, remarry, refile.
Okay.
All right? Hold on if you need help.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank
All right. Brad?
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Brad?
Are you Mr. Brad?
Yes, I am.
You are Mr. Brad. Mr. Brad, talking to Mr. Brad. How are you, sir? I'm gonna really listen to him. Yeah, it's Uncle Brad talking to Mr. Brad. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Thank you so much for what you do. I have three simple questions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take too much of your time.
Sure.
The first one is, can I file I-134 by myself?
An I-130 by yourself?
Yes.
For who?
For my kids back in Africa. Can I do the paperwork?
Do you have a green card?
My wife is a citizen and I'm a green card holder.
You have a green card?
Yes, but my wife is filing for them. She's a citizen here.
Okay, so are you having a problem with your wife?
No, we're good. My wife wants them to come over here.
How old are your children?
One is 10, one is 5.
Yeah, your wife should file for them as the U.S. citizen. It's faster.
Yeah, that's what she wants to do.
Yeah. So it's the wife.
She wants to know if she can do it herself.
The answer is yes.
Okay. Then the second one is this, sir. Can I file the I-130 for my children in Africa now? And will it get approved, putting into consideration of the ban on my country?
You're Nigerian?
Yes, please.
File now. The visa petition will get approved. By the time they get a visa appointment, it'll be a year from now, and let's hope Biden's president.
Okay. The last one. With the I-130 approved, does it get expired if after like...
It never expires. No, it never expires. That's why file now.
Okay, because we want them to get to a certain age before we bring them here. But
Sure.
We just want to put in the paperwork and
put in the paperwork, and then we'll deal with it. We'll see what the state of the world is.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Mr. Brad. God bless you.
All right.
Thank you for everything you do. God bless you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Sarah in San Diego. Sarah.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you, Brett?
Good.
Good. Thank you. So I had a question regarding to my case. I filed I-130 for my spouse on January 2018, and they transferred my case to Nebraska from California. But after that, I haven't heard anything from USCIS. When I contact them,
Who's sponsoring you?
Sorry?
Who is sponsoring you?
A sponsor?
Yeah.
Or
Who's the petitioner?
I'm the petitioner, and my spouse is in Afghanistan.
Oh, you're filing for your spouse.
Yeah.
I understand. And you want to know why you haven't heard? It's because he's from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long has it been now?
Since January 2018.
January 2018, you filed an I-130. You're a U.S. citizen, and you still...
No.
You're a resident?
No, green card holder.
Oh, you're a green card holder. Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you had a green card?
3 years. And
How long have you been married?
2007.
How long have you been married?
It's been about 10 days before coming to USA.
You got married 10 days before coming to the USA?
Yes.
So before you immigrated with your immigrant visa, you got married?
Yes.
After you got your visa in the passport, but before you came to America?
Yes.
And you're from Afghanistan too?
Yeah.
Okay. Who sponsored you?
Sponsor? No one.
How did you get your
no
green card?
idea.
How did you get your green card?
Oh, it was a survey case for my father.
It was asylum? Refugee?
My father.
Your
my
father?
a SIV case. Yes.
Your father, what kind of case?
SIV.
A special immigrant visa for your father. He was he was an interpreter for the American military.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. How old were you when you got your green card? You came as a derivative under 21?
Yeah, I was under 21.
Okay, so this is the problem. Now I know why